School lunch. I bet we all have memories of it, right? You know, the plastic trays, those little milk cartons, maybe some mystery meat. But what's really going on behind that simple cafeteria line? Well, it's a massive, incredibly complex system. And believe it or not, that system is right on the verge of a huge transformation. So let's dive in and see what's happening. First off, let's just wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this thing. The National School Lunch Program in the U.S. serves over 30 million students. And get this, that's every single school day. We're not talking about a small-town bake sale here. This is a massive, nationwide logistical operation, and it plays an absolutely critical role in the health and well-being of millions of kids. So that's the big question, isn't it? If this program is so important, why is it so hard to get right? I mean, why does it so often struggle to serve food that's diverse, healthy, and, actually appealing to kids? And why are the folks running these programs just completely overwhelmed? Well, the answer? It's pretty complicated. Okay, so to really get the problem, you have to think about these programs for what they actually are: massive businesses. Seriously, they're juggling menu planning, supply chains, federal compliance, huge budgets, the whole shebang. The catch? They're often not equipped with the same tools or training you'd find in a modern business. And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. All the research points to this one thing: the sheer weight of the administrative work. All the reporting, all the compliance rules. It's one of the biggest roadblocks. It totally stifles creativity and makes it next to impossible to bring in new, healthier, or even locally sourced food. So what does this administrative burden actually look like on the ground? I mean, we're not just talking about filling out a few forms here. It's a daily, soul-crushing grind that pulls these dedicated professionals away from what they're actually there to do: feed kids. Okay, so take a look at this. This is the old workflow. You plan a menu, right? Then you have to manually create all these reports, chase down every single school site, dig through mountains of binders for audits, and then finally report everything back to the government. We're talking about a process that could take weeks, sometimes even months. It's just so slow and almost impossible to change. And get this, while all that paperwork nightmare is happening, the program director is trying to juggle a million other things. This list here, it's just a small sample of the questions they're asking themselves every single day. We're talking staff training, budgets, compliance, all the way down to the most fundamental question of all: are the kids even eating the food we're making? So here's the bottom line, and this is really important. When a director is spending all their time just trying to stay compliant and chasing down paperwork, they have zero time left to think about the food. Things like food quality, finding fresh ingredients, or creating menus that kids would actually be excited to eat. The paperwork problem directly impacts what ends up on the plate. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds pretty bleak, right? But what's the way out of this mess? Well, the first part of the solution isn't some fancy new technology or another government rule. It actually starts with the people who are right there on the front lines. And that brings us to this quote from Alana C. Jones. Her story is incredible. She literally worked her way up from being a cafeteria worker to a school nutrition director. So she gets these challenges on a really deep level. And that experience is what pushed her to create a program that tackles these problems from the inside out by focusing on one key thing: leadership. Her solution is called the CNP CEO Leadership Academy. And the big idea here is brilliant. It's to stop treating these nutrition directors like they're just glorified clerks and start training them to be what they actually are: CEOs of what are often multi-million-dollar food service operations. The whole academy is built around these 5 pillars. And you'll notice they line up almost perfectly with that chaotic to-do list we looked at a minute ago, right? It gives them a solid, structured framework for handling everything, from managing people and processes to boosting participation and production. It's a totally human-centered solution to a huge systems problem. Okay, so empowering leaders, that's a huge step forward, a total game changer. But what if we could also give those leaders way better tools? Well, it turns out that at the exact same time this human-centered revolution is happening, there's another one being driven by technology, and it's tackling the very same problem: that administrative bottleneck, but from a completely different angle. So here's the big tech hurdle you have to overcome. Look at these 2 product sheets. Every single food supplier has its own format, its own layout, its own weird way of naming things. For a person, it's confusing. For a traditional computer program, it's absolute chaos. Imagine trying to manually type in all this data for thousands of different products. It's an impossible task. And this is where AI completely changes the game. These new AI-powered tools can do what older software just couldn't.
Basically, they can look at any document, no matter how it's formatted, and actually understand it. It's pretty cool. They use tech to read the sheet, pull out all the important nutrition data, and then, boom, automatically check if it meets all the federal guidelines.
And what's the result of all that? Well, it's a total night and day difference. That clunky, multi-step paper chase we saw before gets completely transformed into this sleek, automated process. Things like planning and reporting that used to take weeks, now they can be done in seconds. That whole administrative review becomes an instant, automatic check. And the efficiency gains are just staggering. We're talking about an up to 80% reduction in the time spent just processing nutritional data and verifying compliance. Just think about that. 80%. That is a massive, massive shift in how a nutrition department can spend its time. And that's really the whole point of this technology. It's not about replacing people at all. It's about automating all the boring, repetitive stuff to free up these skilled professionals to focus on what they're actually passionate about: nutrition, creativity, and connecting with the kids. So, okay, we've got these two incredibly powerful solutions happening at the same time. One is all about human leadership, and the other is all about tech and automation. So, what does that mean for the future of school lunch? Well, the biggest shift is this. We're moving away from a system that's rigid, manual, and super time-consuming to one that's agile, automated, and driven by data. And that word agile is key. It means schools can finally adapt menus on the fly, use fresh local foods when they're available, and actually try new things without worrying about losing their funding. That is a total game changer. And this really brings us to the main takeaway. This isn't a people or technology situation, not at all. The best solution is people and technology. Think about it. A well-trained, empowered leader becomes so much more effective when they have powerful, data-driven tools to work with. And that really leaves us with this final, exciting thought. What happens when you take a leader who's been trained like a CEO and give them these incredible AI-driven tools? Just imagine it. They could instantly check if a menu is compliant, figure out the costs of buying from local farms, and see in real time what food the kids are actually eating and enjoying. This isn't some far-off science fiction fantasy. This is the future of school lunch, and it's starting to happen right now.